Listeners, we are much privileged to have Miss Kilentola Jamir. She is a human skills facilitator and holistic counselor, and she's here to talk more about her line of work with us today and to educate us on what that is all about. And ma'am, I'm excited to have you in the show and to learn more about all these topics from you. And so thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Sangti, for having me. And thank you, Akashvani Kohima, for doing this with me. It's a privilege and an honor for me to be here today and to be speaking and sharing my line of experiences with your listeners.
Well, it's a pleasure. And to start off with, can you kindly let us know what is holistic counseling and also how is it related to being a human skills facilitator as well?
Holistic counseling is a part of counseling where you address the individual's well-being by bringing or checking on the interconnectedness of the mind, the body, the soul, and the spirit. That means an individual's holistic well-being. So that includes your mental well-being, your emotional well-being, your physical well-being, and your psychological as well as your spiritual well-being. So how are all this aligned, and especially in your developmental process or in your functioning as a human being and in your behavior or in how you do life, and check on yourself, and also why you behave the way you behave or how you behave the way you behave. So it's the overall development of a human being, to be precise. And a facilitator is someone who makes things easier for you in layman's term. For example, like you have a session and you are the facilitator, so you create a safe space for your participants or your audience and for your session to be more expressive, to be more inclusive, and also to be more vulnerable also, and so that people will be able to be themselves, be vulnerable, be expressive, and explore life together. So you make things easier, and understanding easier, and any kind of session for that matter. So when it's holistic counseling, it can be one-on-one, right? And it can be group therapies. And facilitation, human skills facilitation is all about, we all need skills as human beings, right? So starting from, like I was telling you earlier when we met, it's all about skills that we learn from when we are kids. From the time we are born, our parents teach us, to talk, to learn the ABC. We started by singing the ABC songs and all the rhymes and all the gestures, the expressions, right? And how to say mom, dad, yeah? So all those are human skills. We develop it from when we are in our mother's womb, and we grew up developing different skills, and those are human skills. And somewhere along the way as we grow, we tend to take it very normal. And so a human skills facilitator is someone who helps individuals and groups develop soft skills in simple terms. So it's facilitation that helps you develop your interpersonal skills to improve your communication, your collaboration skills, and your emotional intelligence, of course, and your overall effectiveness as a functioning and functional human being. Whether it might be in your workplace, it might be in your relationships, at home, wherever you are placed, right? And unlike the traditional way of getting trained in any workshops or seminars and all, human skills facilitators focus on experiential learning. And this is where I am really interested in, the experiential learning, group discussions, group therapies, and reflective practices rather than just focusing on the content, focusing on the theoretical understanding and explanations, right? So that's what human skills facilitation and human skills development is all about.
You have clearly opened a whole new world for me. since I had no idea what holistic counseling or human skills facilitator was all about. And so thank you so much for explaining it to us. Also, as we know that counseling itself is a huge subject in itself, and then there are so many umbrellas under it. And holistic counseling, I feel like it's a subject that covers all of the other aspects, right? So it's really interesting, and I am so much eager to know more about it from you. Now, speaking of which, you have also mentioned something about how holistic counseling is more to do with one-on-one sessions. Whereas human skills facilitator has to do with group discussions and things like that,
Mostly,
right? So how do you incorporate and integrate those two together in a session?
There are different kinds of individuals and human beings, right? With different personalities, coming from different backgrounds, coming from different environments. So some people are very comfortable in groups, right? And for example, I'm having a session, or I am invited as a resource person for an event or a program to have sessions with a group of people. And in that group, I'm going to surely find people who are not very expressive and introverts as they define themselves to be. Those are the times when we invite the participants or the group and the people or the individuals to save space, saying like, we can always do one-on-one sessions. So that's where we do the holistic counseling. I can do that. Some people are more comfortable with me alone.
Exactly.
On one-on-one conversations. And I find myself to be more productive in that one-on-one. Of course, I do, and I enjoy the facilitation of groups and crowd and, a large group, but also one-on-one is more intimate, and it helps the other person or the client to be more vulnerable, to be more expressive, and to be more safe, right? Because it's an ethical practice as a counselor to keep or make the other person comfortable. So because I do it with a lot of young people, mostly with lots of young people, children and teens and adolescents, they are not very expressive and they don't feel safe to be sharing their inmost feelings or thoughts or their issues, their struggles, their challenges. So that's how we can invite people or invite individuals that, okay, you can be safe with me on a closer space, right? So, or again, bring them back to the group again after that, and they become more expressive. It's very obvious they become more expressive once you have let out, once you have poured out, they become more expressive in the group as well. And that I have experienced over the years. For more than 10 years, I have seen it. I have seen children, young people, teens and adolescents, and even adults. Yeah, even adults and grown-ups change, or they shift their personalities, their expressions, their feelings, the way they communicate and all that. This two goes hand in hand, and that's how we can integrate that they're connected.
All right, so during our conversation, you have also mentioned how holistic counseling has not just to do with the mental aspect of a human being, but also the physical, the spiritual, the emotional well-being of a human being, right, as a whole.
Yeah.
So how does the session usually go about? I'm really curious to know about it. And how do you break the ice with the client?
We are human beings, and as much as we think of ourselves as different from each other, we are same. So how I break the ice is is just being myself with another human being, and how do I create the space is by just giving a listening ear, getting to know the person, and also sharing my side of who I am, by expressing myself and making the other person feel comfortable. So it's not only one session, it just cannot happen.
Yes.
Counseling is not only one session. It has to be multiple sessions, A person cannot trust another person just so easily, or especially a stranger, right? And I know that very well. But in my experience, to be very honest, strangers have been more expressive in front of me, even on our first meeting. They have been vulnerable, they have been expressive, they have shared their issues, their challenges. So I think it's to do with how we make the other person also feel, And that comes with me not being judgmental, me being compassionate and kind, and me being vulnerable myself, me being real and true, even if it's in any given space or situation and with any set of people, and me treating everyone equally and not setting high standards where I make the person feel uncomfortable. So it's about stooping down and being humble and being kind and compassionate. I think human beings thrive and they express more when we are kind, when we are compassionate, when we say that, hey, I'm here for you, right? Hey, we are same. We can do this together. We can do life together. So I think automatically it just comes and it just happens, the connection, because we are human beings. We cannot live without each other. Only a human being can connect to another human being.
Also, how do you balance between the spiritual aspect or maybe the mental aspect or the physical aspect of a client?
As human beings, God created all of us with all of these aspects and areas, right? Our mind, the Bible clearly talks about one body and different parts, all connected. When one doesn't function, the rest are affected, right? It's clearly mentioned. God created us to be like that. Our cells, our body, every part of our body, every single cell in our body is connected to each other. And when one goes wrong, one string is weak, or broken or shaken, the rest doesn't function. So it's the same. Even if your spiritual life is active, for example, when we say spiritual life, then it's, for us Christians, it's the church, right? Being active in the church, listening to worship songs, having our worship time, reading the Bible, diving into the Bible, and you are so active in your spiritual life, but something is wrong in your physical body. A day will come and there will be days in your life when you will break down, and it's so obvious. Your spiritual well-being cannot live and do or function without your mental, your emotional, and your physical well-being. All these are connected to each other and it's in one body. So when one goes wrong, the rest goes wrong. How can we even talk about the spiritual well-being? If the spiritual well-being is okay, the rest is okay. No, we cannot say that. We have to focus on all the holistic well-being, the development of all of it. You have to develop your mental skills. You have to take care of your physical well-being. For example, if I have to speak in the church, I am so excited about it. What if I get flu in that very week and I get bedridden? I'm coughing, I'm sneezing, right? Then it affects my mental well-being also, because my mind will not be able to function because my physical health is not in its right order and functioning. So when my mind is disrupted because of my physical health, it's very obvious I'm going to worry. What am I going to speak? Well, how am I going to go to the church and talk about it? So no matter how much my spiritual well-being is strong, my physical is not right. It affects my mental, my mind, my thoughts, my feelings. So that's so interconnected. Something or the other goes wrong when one of it goes wrong. So I think it's about bringing all these things together and also helping people, or helping the individuals, or helping myself as well, understand that I need to take care of each one of it equally. The balance need to be there, like you asked me, right? The balance need to be there. And for that to happen, we need a lot of work on the self. As much as we take care of others, we take care of ourselves as well, right? So we need to seek support and help and check on ourselves also where we are going wrong. So it's all about awareness. It all boils down to self-awareness. How much aware are you of yourself and your well-being?
Well, the point that you have put up made me think about how it is a need for counseling sessions as such in today's generation, in Naga society today. Because if we just think about our upbringing, our Naga society or the Asian style of parenting is not about compassion or expressing ourselves and our views. It was more about suppressing and control. We need to go through a lot of healing in that sense. So can you kindly break down as to why we need counseling in our society today, and also how do we incorporate holistic counseling or any counseling for that matter in our educational system today?
This is where I am so interested in, I can talk about this because this is my area of interest and I want to advocate this and I advocate this. Uncle Nikitu Iralo always used to say, I'm sure many people know him, he is known as a statesman, he is known as a peace advocate, peacemaker, and he's an elder and a mentor to me. He just turned 90. And he always used to say, Tutu, our Naga society is a very young society. We are only learning now and growing now. And from that, I got the wisdom and this understanding that so true. We are a very young society. From headhunting, we were bombarded with Christianity and education. And our elders, our forefathers, they were taught to run without even teaching them how to crawl. For example, when a baby is born, in the developmental stage, a baby, he or she, learns how to crawl first before they learn how to stand. And even after learning how to crawl and stand, they learn how to balance the standing. And then only they can learn walking. And then only, the others, right? But in our Naga society, we were taught to run with the modern education and modern world, and we were bombarded with education and Christianity. The American missionaries came and then bombarded with all of it. From headhunting to just boom, education and Christianity and all this. So we cannot expect our elders or our parents to be kind and compassionate because they were not taught. I put myself in their place and think like, okay, they were not taught how to do this, communication skills, communication and emotional intelligence and compassionate communication was not taught. And men were always the ones in the decision making, in the forefront as warriors, and warriors are not supposed to be vulnerable. Warriors are not supposed to be emotional, is the understanding that was passed down, for generations and generations. So we are a suppressed and compressed society when it comes to expressing our emotions, our feelings, our needs. For me, I feel like we cannot expect our elders to be vulnerable, and for our parents also, because like we used to always talk, Sangti, their love language is how they scold us, shout at us, we don't communicate with compassion and kindness like you asked me. We communicate and express our love for each other by shouting at each other, by fighting, by scolding each other, and it's in a very rough tone actually. Never taught how to say sorry and thank you. We don't even express I love you, I care for you, I like you. I appreciate this about you. We were taught about, hey, tu kuribi, oh, tu kuribi, na inya kuribi, tu inya na thakibi. Compassionate and kind communication, I think we are lacking in that. And so in such a generation and in such an era, I think when we are bombarded with all this kind of understanding from across the globe, I think it's time that we change a lot of narratives when it comes to this very topic and this very point. I feel that we need more compassion, we need more kindness. Our parents also need our compassion. Our elders also need our compassion and kindness. We need to do things differently, right? So this is a huge topic. We can talk a lot on this, right?
If I may ask you, how challenging was it for you personally as a facilitator, as a counselor, to change the narrative of this Naga society?
For me, it's very simple. I keep on saying this and I keep on talking about this. So people who know me have heard me say this a lot. I cannot change anybody. I can only change myself. I can only work on myself. Mui manuge change kule na paredo. I cannot force anyone or impose anyone to change and transform. I can only transform, change, and work on myself. The earlier we understand this very simple wisdom, the easier life gets. So I can always influence people and someone else's behavior, someone else's lifestyle, but I cannot force them or change them. It all comes to this, that I work on myself. Okay, I express my opinion, I express my concerns. I can only share my concerns and I can only say that, hey, this will be better if you do this, okay? I think can do a lot better if you do this. And I can always share my opinion, my advices, my concerns, but I cannot impose anyone to change and transform. I cannot force anyone. So I do it on myself. I change myself. And I think I learned it through years of experiences and struggles and challenges that I went through in life, that the more I work on myself and the more I develop myself, the more I change my perspectives and put efforts on becoming a better person and becoming a better human being, world gets better. My environment becomes better. My life gets easier and life is more peaceful this way. This is also one reason why I do what I do. Yeah, the bottom line is like, I cannot change anybody. I can only change myself. And the very quote that Mahatma Gandhi said, if you want to see changes in the world, if you want to change the world, then you have to begin with yourself. I began with myself, and the day and the moment, the years I began with myself and working on myself, life gets more easier and life got more easier. And the challenges, no matter what comes, and even if I see, and I'm frustrated with a lot of things in our Naga society especially, but it gets easier and it gives me more vision and dreams and the aspiration to be different and be someone who works on myself instead of pointing fingers on where our people are going wrong or where the other person is going wrong or where someone else is going wrong. So yeah,
I really love your perspective on that, and this conversation with you feels more like a therapy session even for me. You know, it helps me to also introspect on my point of view about the world and about my life personally as well. And I'm pretty sure that even your clients as well will be impacted, you know, the discussion and the different session that you have with them as well. So can you kindly let us know about the impact of sessions like this?
So when you say impact is the results, the fruits. Like I always talk, because we're friends, I always say this to you also, that there are a lot of workshops, seminars, and a lot of such training programs and all happens, you know, a lot of facilitation, a lot of sessions, a lot of counselings and all happening in different institutions, different church platforms, different areas in our society as well. But the impact, like you asked me, the impact is what matters according to me also. The Word of God clearly says that you are planting something, but if you are not bearing fruit, it's meaningless if it's not bearing any fruits. So, for example, on World Environment Day, a lot of people or organizations and different, you see lots of plantations happening and all, planting seeds, planting trees and all. But are you nurturing that plant that you plant on World Environment Day? Right? Are you nurturing it? Is the question. And we always see this on social media. A lot of people questioning. You are planting it. Bani dies na nai. Na itula area sapakurias na nai. Are you cleaning the very area where you have planted? Was there even a single day that you go back to that very plant that you planted and looked after it, you know? So I might be planting a lot of seeds, but am I following up and checking on the impact? Is it growing? Does it need more manure? Does it need water? How well do you know the plant that you are planting? How much are you nurturing? Is the impact, right? So the impact is the results, the fruits bearing. I see a lot of such facilitation programs, such training programs and all happening across, but I think our society lacks follow-up. There are lots of revivals happening in different churches. Every year there is a revival, right? Even in our churches, we have revival, even for the youth ministry, even for the children ministry, even for the adults, even for the elders. But is only one revival enough for a year? Is only one revival enough for me as an individual in my spiritual journey? In my holistic development is something that I always question myself, and I question the society and the church, because I think as human beings and as a progressive and a functional human being, we all need revivals because we keep on falling. We break down. The follow-up is important, right? For example, I do facilitation, but if I stop doing facilitation, my skills will rust. my talents will rust and it will slowly become old because the world is moving fast. As a facilitator, facilitation skills also become advanced, and in this generation skills keep on developing. But if I stop doing it, if I stop exercising and practicing my skills, then it will rust, it will stop. So there will be no impact of my profession, of what I do. And I need to also work on myself by going on upgrading my facilitation skills, right? And if I'm not doing it, then there is no impact. There is no fruit bearing, even in my personal life as well as in my professional life as well. So I think this impact is very important. The result is more important than what you are doing. The one-day session that you are giving is not enough if you're not seeing the impact, the fruits. So I think we need to start thinking and rethinking together on how much any kind of profession for that matter is bearing fruits in our lives, in our institutions, in our organizational setups, and in our Naga society as a whole. Yeah.
That's a really thought-provoking statement that you've made about following up, and that's an area which we lack in, and we as a society can do better in that sense. Now, speaking about which, I would also like to ask you, what are the best methods for a client, for example, because you have clients with different needs. So how do you curate the best methods for a client?
So, like you said, different individuals, different clients have different needs and different issues and different challenges that they come with. So there are different key aspects when it comes to holistic counseling, as well as, even in human skills facilitation. So it can be about the whole approach or the individual approach, right? So when it comes to the individual and the client approach, then it's about checking on your mental well-being, your physical health, your emotional state, your environment, the environment you grew up in, starting from childhood. And understanding that your relationships, your life cycle, and your lifestyle, what you eat, what you drink, what time do you sleep, what time do you wake up, how is your work routine. So all these things, I have to get to know that first. Yeah, and not only that, but also studying and trying to understand on what are the thought process that the client have or you have. Right? What are the narratives that you have built in your mind till now, since childhood till now? And what are the shifts over the years? What are the perspectives that you are holding to, right? How willing are you to be able to receive new perspectives? Or how willing are you to check on the possibilities of new perspectives, new lifestyle? Or does it need a shift? Does it need a change? So all those are very important. The first approach, the first key aspect should be that. So some clients comes with anxiety and depression, which they define themselves as to be. Sometimes it is not. It is actually feelings, them not being able to navigate their feelings and emotions. And anxiety, depression has become so common in this era that many people, especially young people also, and even adults for this matter, are not even aware of what exactly anxiety is, what exactly depression is. And they will just say, you are upset about something, and then you just say, I am depressed. You're worried about something, whereas it's actually worry. You are worried about something, but you say, I am anxious, I have anxiety. So this kind of self-definitions really makes a lot of people become worse in their functioning as an individual, as a human being, right? In their daily life and lifestyle. So a lot of them comes with that also. And when a relationship is going wrong in their life, a connection is going wrong in their life, they often term it as, nothing good is happening to me and all that. So different kinds of issues and problems that comes with a lot of people comes with career issues. A lot of people comes with the question of, what am I doing in my life? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't even know my likes and dislikes. So when one comes like that, then according to your need, according to how you express yourself, the client express himself or herself, we try to curate the sessions for them according to their needs. But the first, like I said, is to examine their environment, their lifestyle, their physical well-being, their mental state, their emotional state, their spiritual life. So there are different questions and safe questions and where comfortable communications to bring out that part. From then on, we can carry on with the other kinds of sessions and the key aspects, which may include a lot of talking therapy, the psychotherapy, as well as the different kinds of therapies and the key aspects in counseling sessions.
Thank you so much. And I think we're almost coming to the end of the discussion. So I would like to end this conversation on a very high note with a rhetorical question. Do you think that our Naga society needs more holistic counselors?
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. I really wanted to say this as I'm getting the opportunity. Counseling is happening a lot, but I always say this, and I want to say it here also, that we are very new to the real counseling, because counseling in Nagaland, especially in our Naga society, has been understood only in the spiritual side. When it comes to church counseling, let's be honest about it, prayer warriors in revivals will be termed as counselors. But I really want to let everyone know and people know that there are different areas of counseling with different kinds of studies, different aspects of counseling. And it can be holistic counseling, it can be psychological counseling, psychologists, psychiatrists, we have all this, right? Clinical psychologists. And then we have mental health professionals as mentors and counselors, right? So different, and spiritual counselors, those who have studied from their theological background as well on counseling. So I feel that our people need to be really open, and it's time that we understand this, that there are different areas of counseling that every individual needs. We all need counseling. There will be no human being on this earth who doesn't need counseling. I'm telling you. So holistic counseling is really, really important, I feel, in this era, because not only one side of a human development is important. The holistic approach is very important. The holistic well-being and development is important. So it's time that we address it. It's time that we advocate it, and it's time that we build upon it. And we need facilitators, mentors, and counselors of all kinds in every aspect and area of life who can fit in any kind of institution, church, organizations, setups in different areas and all walks of life for that matter. So I feel that it's time that we encourage holistic counseling, facilitation like never before. And I wish it all starts from our families to church to schools to different kinds of institutions, even in governmental setup, to office, to workplace, right? It's a need for our Naga society. And I'm so grateful that Akashvani Kohima is doing this. And I really appreciate your channel advocating different kinds of sessions, people from different walks of life, different professions. And so this is the holistic development that I'm talking about, the holistic well-being of a Naga society that you bring in together. And I really look forward to seeing this channel grow, because I think it's really important. I think it's time that we as a society learn to understand that we need to be compassionate, we need to be kind to each other, and we need to really go back to the basics and the basic values that we were taught from when we were kids, from many, many years ago, for generations and generations, of kindness, of honesty, of purity, of unselfishness. Our forefathers were all of it. So we need to go back to the basic values, restart our life again, So as a society, as we are growing and we are learning, I am so hopeful that it will only get better. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'm so in tune with everything that you have said about holistic counseling, that it is a need in our Naga society today. Thank you so much. And I believe that the listeners have also enjoyed this conversation, and that we will be open to more counselings and to all these sessions as well.